Today, I want to talk about whether AMC could be about to implement a share buyback, just like they did back in 2017 when they still had tons of debt to push the price up massively. I also want to talk about how when one hedge fund collapses, one big hedge fund, the entire house of cards will come falling down. So stay tuned and let's make some money. And now I'll dive straight in with the key information. So, Jason has tweeted this extract from AMC's financial statements from 2017, back when they implemented a share buyback. It says this decision is made by the board of directors and senior management at their discretion, taking into account various factors such as liquidity, capital needs of the business, market conditions, and regulatory requirements. It says the repurchase program does not obligate the company to repurchase any minimum dollar amount. Additionally, when AMC Entertainment Holdings decides to buy back its own shares, it can decide to go into the open market and purchase up to an approved limit of shares. Therefore, the company has the authority to repurchase its shares without seeking approval from the shareholders. Now, as Jason pointed out, this is extracted from when AMC last did a repurchase agreement back in 2017. And it also adds saying that AMC Entertainment Holdings is not required to publicly announce a share repurchase agreement or the plans for a share repurchase agreement. But however, the company has made public announcements about stock offerings and debt repurchases in the past, which are different from share repurchase agreements. For example, in November 2023, AMC announced a stock offering to raise capital, and in July 2022, the company repurchased $72.5 million of its second lien debt at a discount. So AMC could buy back any number of shares without having to first alert the market of its plans to do so. They can just go into the market and rebuy all of those shares. Now, Jason also points out, he said most don't realise, but AMC currently has more cash on hand than the current debt they owe in 2026, making it dumb as hell to continue shorting for those short hedge funds. He said, I hope Wall Street realises that if Adam Aron does a share buyback, he could buy back 193 million shares at current share prices. Something to think about. Obviously, AMC right now has a little over 200 million shares in issue, so could literally repurchase 90 to 95% of the float. I think that right there really could be a way to instantly expose and instantly fix the synthetic shorting problem. All of a sudden, if AMC held 90% of the float and retail investors also held 90% of the float, a clear issue would be shown. If retail investors held over 190 million shares when there's only 5, 10 or 15 million shares in issue, a giant glaring issue would be shown. You may remember I touched on this the other day, but many years ago, Robert Simpson bought the entire float of a company, Global Links. He bought over 100% of the shares, and yet the following day, 37 times the float in terms of number of shares continued to trade. Now, Global Links was a stock that did actually experience a short squeeze, trading for below 1 cent per share back in 2004, all of a sudden rising over $1,000 per share. On top of that, something really interesting can be seen around 2021. If you go to the 5-year chart for Global Links, check out this spike around December, January of 2021, and again here in June and July of 2021. Therefore, AMC buying back tons and tons of shares could indeed be a way to cause an instant squeeze. Last week was also one of the craziest weeks I've ever had in the Millionaire Mindset trading group, with S to the P making over $16,000 in one day, with Chad making over $1,400 in one trade, with Icon's mum making $475, and with Van making a 62% profit on his entire account on a Nexi trade. Remember guys, we've also got a 100% guaranteed refund policy. If the educational videos and trade alerts and trade ideas don't help you make a single profitable trade in 30 days, there's a 100% guaranteed refund. The group already has over 325 members, so if you want to be making these daily gains of thousands and thousands of dollars, be sure to join the Millionaire Mindset trading group linked in the description below. Now, people reply to Jason's message saying Adam Aron and AMC can't perform a share buyback if AMC is still in debt, which, as Jason explains, just isn't the case. AMC recently did a share buyback in 2017, a share buyback of $100 million. And at the time, AMC had similar debt to what it has now, with $4.8 billion in debt. So covenants don't stop AMC performing a share buyback, which it could potentially do. Now, Investor Turf also tweeted saying FTX went out of business, and numerous other firms exposed to FTX either restricted withdrawals or went out of business alongside. So that way you could see, especially in the crypto industry with FTX, when one big fund fell, the entire house of cards collapsed pretty much. Or at least all of the house of cards that were affiliated or affected directly with FTX. And they said, what if we told you the exact same thing will happen in the stock market one day? If one hedge fund collapses, one short hedge fund, one large short hedge fund, the others will follow suit. If someone like Citadel or Virtue or Susquehanna or Group 1 Trading or someone large like that collapses due to short positions, the entire house of cards goes down. So far, Biotech Moose maintains a wall of shame for those smaller hedge funds that have collapsed over the last couple of years, many as a result of directly shorting companies like AMC and GameStop. So far, these hedge funds like Melvin Capital have been fairly small fry, only to the tune of a few $1 billion. But as more and more smaller hedge funds collapse and that toxic debt and toxic derivatives are passed to the larger hedge funds, when one of the larger funds goes, the entire house of cards will come falling down. Now, MF Hoz and the Cabesi letter have tweeted some reasons or some catalysts that could bring down those larger hedge funds. So MF Hoz has started by saying the 10-year Treasury yield is poised to rally to new highs. Now, this is actually a major deal because Citadel specifically has been putting on or has placed the basis trade, which involves shorting US Treasuries. So far over the last couple of months, they've effectively been saved, as the 10-year Treasury yield has dropped from over 4.7%, near 5%, down to below 4%. They had been hurting on that trade through most of 2023 as the 10-year Treasury yield has increased, but as I said, it's dropped over the last couple of months. But MF Hoz is expecting this to increase again to new all-time highs, creating significant short losses for Citadel. By saying as geopolitical events in the Red Sea region create supply chain shocks and fuel inflation to new highs. You'll be aware US inflation just increased by 0.3% month over month, increasing from 3.1% to 3.4%. If inflation in the US is indeed back on a rise, this would spell disaster for those large short hedge funds. Now, the Cabesi letter has also tweeted about oil prices jumping back above $75 after the US and UK conduct strikes in Yemen. Now, remember, there's a few large hedge funds out there like Andoran's hedge fund that have been shorting oil. A terrible choice right now. Again, if the price of oil continues rising, again, even those large short hedge funds will soon be saying goodbye. And finally, Aaron Bugatti has pointed out something I've really noticed down in the comments below, which is the shill bots getting way more aggressive. I've seen way more FUD shill bot comments over the last few weeks and the last few months than I've ever seen in the last 3 years. Not only that, but these shills, bots and FUDsters are getting way more aggressive too. Just check out these messages he received from one of these bots. And he's added saying it must be a good sign that we're on the right track. And that doesn't really surprise me, because if the price of oil is going to continue going up and the 10-year Treasury yield also goes up to new highs, these hedge funds will be in big trouble. Therefore, they're doing anything they can to threaten us out of our positions so they can try and close out of their shorts. Or at least try and push AMC into bankruptcy so they don't ever have to close them out. So guys, be sure to let me know what you think down in the comments below. And as always guys, be sure to ding that notification bell, because that way you'll be alerted when I upload a new video. Cheers.